and tonight we are going to be discussing soy and some of the things that soy might be doing to your body that you might not be making the connection to. And I'm also going to share with you how you can find soy in some of the everyday food products that you have, and share with you a little bit about an experiment that I did when I was soy free and how many times in one day I was actually being exposed to soy when I was under the impression that I was eliminating it from my diet. So I have been in the health and fitness industry for about 25 years, and I have been helping women look for nutrition plans and fitness programs that will help them look and feel their best and live their most authentic life. And recently, for me, that has been done with intermittent fasting and the elimination of soy from my diet. So if you are one of the women who has reached out to me about my up-and-coming intermittent fasting for today's Aging Woman's group, I will be sharing with you in that group how I went through some elimination diets to determine what it was that soy was actually doing to my body. But tonight, I will share with you 9 things that soy does to our body that we may not be making that connection to, or some things that we might want to be on the lookout for that it might possibly be doing to our body at a later time if we're not eliminating it from our body. So just a little bit about what soy is. So soy is one of the greatest sources of phytoestrogens that we have in our diet today. And a phytoestrogen is basically just a plant-based estrogen that we actually have to take in through our nutrition. So it is not a hormone that we produce on our own, but it is something that we found in plant-based goods. And so one of those things is actually soy. Now, the problem with soy here in the United States is that it is one of the most highly GMO'd food products that we have. And so the soy that we actually consume is not really what soy is supposed to do as a plant form. And so when we ingest it into our body, it has some adverse effects to us because it's not truly what soy is supposed to be in the natural state. We've kind of just messed with it too much. And so it doesn't really do all the things that it's advertised to do, but it does a lot of things that are pretty scary to our body and some things I want to make you aware of. So one of the first things that soy can do to your body is it can cause thyroid suppression. So I know there are so many women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, hopefully by your 50s you found it, that are suffering from hyperthyroidism or hypothyroidism. And a lot of times your thyroid just absolutely just completely stops functioning on you. And one of the most direct causes of that that has been researched, just you can look it up on the internet, can be soy. So if you think you're suffering from some thyroid conditions, I would definitely bring up that subject when your doctor when you go visit, and see if that might be a connection for you. And then I would immediately drive home and I would look at all the food that you have in your pantry and go straight to that allergen label on any of the ingredients list for your food and see how much of your food that you're consuming in a day is actually containing soy. It's not the obvious soy, so it's not like soybean oil, it's not edamame, it's not tofu, it's not soy milk. Those are the things that are super obvious and super easy to take out of your diet. I know because that's what I did, and I was still sick. So you really have to dial it down to reading those ingredients labels that you have on the food that's in your pantry and in your freezer, and looking for soy lecithin or soybean oil as one of those ingredients. So if you're having thyroid problems, soy lecithin or soybean oil could be the cause of those problems. The second big soy disruptor that we have, or issue that we have with soy, is it can disrupt your menstrual cycle. So because soy is a huge hormone imbalancer, and when we're in our 40s, 50s, and 60s for some of us, our hormones are all out of whack anyways, and they're kind of trying to adjust to this new era of life that we're entering. And so if we also bring in a hormone disruptor on top of hormones that are trying to readjust, that can really throw your system out of balance. So if you are one of those women who's suffering from maybe very heavy menstrual cycles or menstrual cycles that maybe are sporadic, again, I would look at what you might be ingesting in your diet that you're not aware of that could be containing soy, and that could be one of those things that could be causing you those issues. So the third thing that soy is causing for us women as a problem is it disrupts our endocrine system. And again, that is one of those things when I talk to women, they are like 1 foot out the door looking for an endocrinologist. And I always suggest check your soy consumption first. And you always want to talk to your doctor or consult with the physician if you think that something is seriously wrong. But by the time I went to go see my doctor when I was suffering from some of these perimenopausal issues and I just wasn't feeling good, is I cleaned out my diet first, and I was able to eliminate a lot of the symptoms that I was going through just from getting rid of soy out of my diet. So I highly suggest that before you go spend a bunch of money on a specialist, especially these days with health care and how it is, I would strongly suggest checking your soy consumption and seeing if there might be some ways that you can kind of cut it out or minimize it from your diet. Give it about 3 months and then see how you're feeling. So disrupts the endocrine system. This is a super scary one, especially with the rise of breast cancer today and the fact that it is no longer genetically linked to previous cases of breast cancer in our family. It has been shown to stimulate breast cell growth that causes breast cancer, and even more scary, if you've had breast cancer, it can cause the reoccurrence of breast cancer. So that alone is an excellent reason to really watch what you're doing with your soy consumption, and see if you can find ways to cut it out of your life, if through your food especially. So I think I'm number 5, and the number 5 one is, or 5 I mixed in with the other breast cancer one, so that now I'm on to number 6. For menopausal women, so this is super scary too. For menopausal women, soy has been shown to cause increased risk of cardiovascular disease. And I'm pretty sure cardiovascular disease is still the #1 killer of women in the United States. So if we could get rid of soy in our diet, we can reduce that risk like right off the bat. And I think that's one of those scary things too, because cardiovascular disease with women is one of those things that kind of comes on really fast and really strong, and there's not a lot of warning for us because we're probably not thinking about what those things like soy could be doing for us. And so, I think that's a big one we want to spread the word on too, along with the breast cancer warnings, is that soy could be that thing that could make us end up with cardiovascular disease when we're doing all the other things in our life to prevent it. Soy could be that #1 thing that's going to walk us right dead center on it. So cardiovascular disease is increased in menopausal women who are consuming soy. Okay, the next one, I think I already did the menstrual cycle one. So now we're going to go into another scary one for us as we get older, is increased risk of cognitive decline. And that goes along with a lot of the other things that I'm doing right now too, with a lot of these groups that I'm helping with women as we're aging. That cognitive decline is a scary thing. And I know we often joke about it amongst our friends, and it's that, senior moment thing, or you're always forgetting where you put your keys, or maybe you, I know for me, like I always park in the same place when I go to Target, because there have been times when I've walked out of a store and I have no recollection of where I've parked my car. And that's a really scary feeling to have when your memory is just gone. Or there have been times when I've sat down at my desk to get some work done and I can't focus on anything. My mind is just a hot mess. And there was actually a point in time when I told my husband that, there have been instances where I look straight at my kids and I can't remember what their names are. And that's a scary feeling. I'm only 50 years old. And all of those are those precursors for dementia and Alzheimer's disease. And I talk a lot in my intermittent fasting groups about how intermittent fasting is definitely one of those things that can help the onset of Alzheimer's disease. Well, soy is one of those things that can definitely get you there faster. So if you're trying to keep your brain power intact and you want to keep your mental clarity and your brain function as sharp as possible, definitely get in there and check those food labels and look for those soy ingredients and eliminate as much of that stuff as you can. So we want to keep our brain sharp, definitely get rid of that soy. And then I read an interesting research paper about how much soy it takes for all of these things to affect our bodies. And it takes as little as 1 cup of soy milk a day, and all of these adverse effects that are caused by soy will be very prevalent in your life. And not just one, but like all of these things can be happening in your body just by 1 cup of soy milk a day. Okay, so what about those people that say, okay, but I don't drink soy milk? Because I don't drink soy milk, and I wasn't eating edamame, and I don't eat tofu. So where was my soy exposure coming from? Well, I've done a video on a little experiment that I did where when I was soy-free, I counted how many times I had been exposed to soy in a 24-hour period. And I think it ended up being like 14 or 15 times, and I thought I was soy-free. So that's where this is so shocking for us as women, and how we're like slowly poisoning ourselves, and we're thinking that all these things are wrong with us, and our bodies are falling apart, and we're running to this specialist, or we're running to that specialist. And it could really be as simple as you are slowly exposing yourself to soy products throughout your day. So I'm going to kind of just share with you a little bit of some of the things that were causing me to have a soy reaction through a very innocent day of my life. And it usually started at breakfast when I would have a gluten-free, dairy-free waffle that contains soy lecithin. And then from there, I would go on and have my pre-workout drink before I worked out, which also contains soy lecithin. And then I might have a piece of gum, which also contains soy lecithin. And then I would put my deodorant on, which contained soybean oil. And then some of the lotions I was using had soy in it as well. I might have a can of tuna fish for lunch, also had soy in it. Put some mayonnaise in my tuna fish, that also had soy in it. A lot of the breads that we eat today have soy in it. I might have soy at dinner, and then soy at the end of the night. So in that 24-hour period, I counted 14 exposures to soy when I legitimately was going out of my way to avoid putting soy in my body. So my warning to you and my advice to you is to be very diligent about reading your labels, not only on your food, but also the products that you're putting on your skin. Because remember, our skin is our biggest organ. And if we're applying topically things to our skin that have soy lecithin or soybean oil in them, and we put it on our skin, that is going right into our body's system, and it will throw your body completely out of whack. My daughter is trained, because she's 10, that when we go shopping together, we don't put anything in our cart unless we read the label and it does not contain soy. Because I know what soy has felt like for me as a woman and what it's done to my hormones, and my daughter's 10 and her little body is changing. And so we have just decided, her and I, that she's going to try to limit her soy as much as possible as well, because we don't want it adversely affecting her little hormonally changing body either. My son is the same way. He's 16, and my husband, who's the same age as I am, is also in agreement that soy is just not a thing that we're going to put into our lives. So for the ones that you love, make sure you spread this word as well, and let them know, to look at those labels, not only on your food, but also in your skincare products and your chewing gum. Cough medicine has it. Throat lozenges has it. I mean, it is literally everywhere. And for some of those healthier labeled foods, which are gluten-free most often, soy lecithin is very prevalent because gluten is used as one of those bonding agents to keep things together when there's no wheat in them. And when the gluten is taken out, which is also a bonding agent. And so they replace that bad thing with another bad thing, which is soy lecithin, which now acts as that new bonding agent. So I would say don't let healthy food labels trick you. They tricked me for a while. It was in my turkey bacon as well, my spaghetti sauce. I mean, literally everything that we thought that we were buying that was healthy had some soy lecithin in it. So purge your cupboards and, you know, definitely go out there and read the labels. What I can tell you is that there are plenty of things out there that do not contain soy. So the first time I went to the grocery store, you know, looking for soy-free items for our family, it took me probably an hour and a half, and I read every single label. But now I can get in and out of the grocery store pretty quickly. I know my go-to stores. I know my go-to products. I know which items have soy, which ones don't, and they're often right next to each other on a store shelf. So you don't have to look too far. You just have to change brands or change makers, and you can find those equivalent food items that don't contain soy. Another big warning is everyday store-bought chocolate is totally full of soy. So if you know, make sure you read that label as well. Tea bags have soy in it as well. There's some amazing chocolate bars out there that you can find that do not have soy in them, and I'll be sharing some of that stuff in my intermittent fasting group. So if you are a woman who is suffering from, you know, perimenopausal issues or menopausal issues, or you think that you're just kind of going crazy because your body's out of whack, trust me, I know I've been there, but you're not alone. And if you would like some support and accountability, and you would like an environment where you can learn some things about some nutrition and how you can get your body, you know, back into that healed state, definitely feel free to reach out to me. My group will be starting the first week of April. We have a few more spots left, so if you're interested, you want to make sure you get on my email list quickly. The emails and invites will be going out this week for sure. And I'm only taking a limited number of women, so if you want in this month, or for the month of April, make sure you get in touch with me ASAP and I can get you the information. So let me see if there are any questions here. Let's see, I can't believe how many things have soy in them. Oh, I know, Nancy, it's crazy. It is in so many products. Well, it's good. It sounds like you guys are at least looking for it. So that is the first step, to not be fooled by, you know, these people who are making our food, who, you know, are putting cheap fillers in there. So, but look past food, you know, look at those items that we use in our everyday, you know, medicine cabinet. I think, you know, breath mints have soy lecithin in them. We got rid of all of that stuff and have found replacement products. So they're there. Just make sure that you're looking for them. And if you are suffering from hormonal imbalances, thyroid issues, infertility problems, let's see, what else did I list on here? Endocrine system problems. If breast cancer does run in your family, then I would say you want to avoid soy at all costs. Don't even run the risk of it. If you don't have breast cancer in your family, don't trust it. Definitely keep that soy out of your life. And if you know anyone who's suffering from any of those things, fill them in on, you know, this information, because it is just one of those things that the more we share what we are going through as a community of women, the more we can get that word out there and we can help other women. And I know for me, with all the hormone things that I've had through, you know, infertility issues and miscarriage and having to, you know, recover from a late, you know, age pregnancy at 40 and going right into menopause or perimenopause right after that, and kind of suffering with perimenopause for the last 10 years, that I'm really making sure that I leave a mark for my daughter so that she's in the know and she has all the information available to her to make sure that she can live a healthy life as a woman and not have to struggle and feel like she's crazy and alone and she's the only one that's going through this stuff, that she's kind of coming up alongside me, and as her hormones are changing and her body is changing, it's kind of nice that we're able to go through it together and we can help keep each other healthy. And then remember this, our bodies are meant to heal ourselves. And oftentimes when we're sick or when our bodies start to fall apart, we don't really have to look too far for the cause of the ailments that we're suffering from. And oftentimes it is just a slow deterioration because of the things that we've done to ourselves. And a lot of times it's very unknowingly. So, you know, take a deep breath, you know, have a little honest talk with yourself. Are you making the best food choices? Are you putting the best stuff on your body that you could be? You know, are you eating the way you should be? Are you exercising? Are you living a stress-free life? Are you, you know, making sure that you have good, loving, caring people around you? Like, all of those things are very healing things. So if you do feel like you're kind of not at your best right now, don't fret about it. Just put a plan into place and start doing the things that you should be doing to get your body back on the mend. And for me, it didn't take very long at all. It took, maybe a good month of being very diligent about listening to my body and knowing that when I did something that my body didn't appreciate, that it was sending me a signal, and then I just had to listen to those signals and make some adjustments. So there is an opportunity to get better, and there is a way to heal your body, but you've got to be diligent about it. You've got to take it seriously, and you've got to do your research and then take some action into your own hands. So I hope this was informative for you guys. Like I said, my group for intermittent fasting will be starting in April. We will be talking about a lot of these things a little bit more in depth in that group. So if you are a woman who feels like you might just be a little bit out of balance or might need some guidance and support and accountability and spend some time with some like-minded women, then I strongly encourage you to reach out to me, and I will get some information to you, and we will get you in our group with us in April. As always, I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you have any questions, I'm never far away. Just email me, or you can find me on social media. Have a great night tonight, you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.